Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Mismatched. So today we have Michael Hyatt on the show with us. So Michael is a self-made entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist who built his success from humble beginnings. He co-founded two groundbreaking software companies and sold them for over $1 billion. Today, he leads the Hyatt Family Office, investing with a builder's mindset across technology, private equity, and innovation. A familiar voice to Canadians as a weekly commentator on CBC, Michael is also a passionate backer of emerging founders and ventures. Beyond his business, he chairs the Hyatt Family Foundation, dedicated to advancing women's health, supporting critical hospital research, and expanding opportunities in underserved communities. Michael's also a devoted husband and father of 3 daughters. And on Mismatch today, he's going to bring some of the same warmth, candor, and again, hard-won insight into every conversation, offering a real insight from someone who's lived both the hustle and the heart. 2 of my favorite things. Michael, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here.
Sure.
Okay, so there's so much to cover because, there's the journey of entrepreneurship, there's the work-life balance, but let's start with the work stuff, if that's cool with you. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your journey to entrepreneurship because you actually went to school to be a doctor, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I was a very sick child. So when we immigrated to Canada, I spent most of my time at sick kids. We didn't have a lot. We came to this country. And I think that my first 10 years of life, I spent so much time around doctors that I just felt like that was what I was emulating. I wanted to be. And when you're a very sick child for so long, weird things happen. Like a bunch of you becomes an adult, but you're still 5 or still 6. It's like a weird, you're out of time, you're out of place.
For sure.
And so a lot of things happen to very sick children. And I struggled a lot. And eventually I was okay. And then my journey was never classical. I struggled through high school. I applied to university. One university took me, Western. Thank you, Western.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to sciences at Western, and I worked so hard, and I did well, but not that well. Like when you're in a science program, like you can get 100% on an exam. It's a thing.
Right.
Like I will work 17 hours a day studying, and I would get like 82, and it would like be the best thing I could ever pull off in biochemistry in 3rd year. And somebody next to me would get 100 plus the 2-point bonus and 102.
Oh my God.
And these people would go to med school and stuff. So at the end of it, I was leaving Western, and I was giving my 4th year thesis in science. And I remember giving it to these professors, and it was like the movie Flashdance, where they're kind of glasses on the nose, the male pale and stale look. And they said to me, Mr. Hyatt, at the end, they said, "You should go sell cars, get out."
No.
And they told me to leave. And I'm like, "But I want to go do a master's." And they're like, "Go sell cars."
Really?
Yeah. And
Were you upset? Like defeated?
I was a little shocked, and then I started the software company with my family and my brother, who was a coder who dropped out of school, and that was the 90s when it wasn't obvious that the internet wasn't really a thing, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and there was a recession, and everybody just wanted a job selling long distance phone plans or something because Bell was deregulating for the first time. It was a really hard time. Like, if you could land a job for $25,000 or $30,000, you had made it, right? When you left Western, like 25 grand, no, I'll take it. Well, that sounds good. I'll do it. So I just walked. I finished my stats exam on a Friday, and I got right into the company with my brother and my family on Monday, and I just didn't stop.
So with your family, does that mean was your dad a part of it? Like how did you kind of come to the idea of we're going to do this, and how did you rally around that?
So my brother dropped out of school, and he was very introverted, and he would stay at home coding all day. My brother was a genius coder, and he couldn't, and he didn't want to go to school anymore. He graduated like 6 months in, And my dad said to him, "Listen, if you're going to stay home all day, you're going to write me some software." My dad was a well-known chemical engineer, and he says, "I want you to write a piece of software for what we do at my work." And Richard hacked away on this really new thing called Windows instead of DOS, right? To make a graphical user interface, a GUI, to actually do this type of project. And it wasn't a big market, but it was very niche, and people would pay a lot of money for it. And we launched this company in the 90s. and we started selling software, and we would like save it to discs. We'd go to this place called the post office, and we'd mail the discs, and then we'd call you up and say, "Can you put the discs in the drive, please?"
my
And
God.
because there was no internet.
Right.
And I remember walking to my brother's office, and I said, "Hey, what's this internet thing? It looks kind of stupid." And he says, "Yeah, it's stupid." And I just went back to my office because the internet was kind of
Oh my
stupid,
God.
right?
Yeah, you had to dial up, and it was like
You
such
make a
an
funny
effort.
noise
Yeah.
and you get on, and it just looked like the Yellow Pages, right? The
Yeah.
internet in the early days just looked like the Yellow Pages. It was Alta Vista, Lycos, and I remember seeing this thing called Google. I'm like, who are these guys? This is really stupid. Don't they know about Alta Vista?
Oh my
And
God.
we're all just sitting here. Who are these guys? Funny things happen, and then we progressed and we learned a lot, but we didn't really have much funding because there wasn't much funding available. So we just
Right.
did
It
everything
wasn't a
ourselves.
thing.
It wasn't a thing.
Uh-huh.
And then the dot-com crash came, and the whole world had come to an end, and it was announced that, see, the internet was stupid and it's never coming back. And we thought, you know what? I said to my brother, do you want to lose your phone or your email? He says, I don't like talking on the phone. I want to keep my email. I said, so I think the email is going to come back. I mean, this is a conversation in 2001 when, you should have bought Home Depot and Sears
Wow.
and really stable stocks, not these silly tech things. And then the world took some time to come back because if you think about it, Wi-Fi didn't come out really to 2005. And mobile didn't really take off to 2007, right? With the advent of the iPhone, really, right? So it was a thing, and but you forget, right? We forget all these inconveniences we had.
Yeah,
back in time.
because I just saw a video the other day that was so beautifully and eloquently stated how millennials are the bridge between what was and what is now, and had to kind of learn. We were like the generation that had to learn as it happened.
Yeah, and look, in saying all the change that we've seen in the past 20 years, I would say this might be surprising to some of your viewers, is that the next 5 years are going to be the fastest 5 years in human history.
Like, how is that possible? It's even hard to fathom based on the rate at which things are moving right now.
Yeah, it's math. So the answer is math, and I say it in a way because computing is still moving exponentially, and math is dictating a speed to computing that, for example, if the next couple of years quantum computing becomes real, or a super intelligence comes out in AI, which is likely either in the next 5 years or 10 years, it's going to dramatically change things. Many things for the better. For example, finding new drugs, healthcare. There's a lot of really incredible things AI is going to do. There's some things that are questionable for sure. But overall, the future is very good. The future is great. I'm an optimist about the future, by the way.
That's good. We
And-
need more of that, I feel like, because there's a lot of fear and negativity around.
But that I think is because we are hit with so much media today. So the people watching this podcast right now could open their phone up and get hit with like a million things from Instagram that you couldn't get hit 20 years ago with, right? So it's almost like convincing you there's a problem when they're not necessarily, like there's many problems that have happened in human history that you just wouldn't know about.
Right.
And if you didn't know about them, you wouldn't have been so freaked out. You're getting convinced through clickbaits and different positioning and titles, and when you actually read the article,
Algorithms.
and then you ever see like a great title, and then you read, and then you're like, hey, that's not really what happened in the
not
article.
relevant, yeah.
So I think that's happening, but the world is getting dramatically better. If you stand back from all the graphs, they're going up to the right, and that's, child mortality and vaccinations. Like things are actually a lot better than you think they are. And AI is going to do some incredible things for us and help us. Just the way we make drugs is we have to understand how proteins fold. A PhD could spend their whole career doing one protein, where AI can do it in millions of proteins right away. So those type of advancements will come out with drugs that'll elongate our lives, save people, hopefully cure things like different cancers eventually. And I'm very optimistic that the power of computing and that math will lead to a much better future. And I think it's coming very quickly. There's a lot more change coming in the next 5 and 10 years than we've seen. This might be a very astounding thing to say, but in the past 20,000 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do we prepare for this?
You go with it, meaning that
Lean into it.
yeah,
Don't push against it. Resist it.
AI is not going to take your job. What's going to happen is that if you don't get with it, you're going to be behind. So decide how you can utilize technology to make your life better and your job better.
I think there's such a fine balance too of still using your own brain enough and not relying on it completely. The amount of people that, I hear people that only use AI to do everything. And then other people that are like, no, I still make the effort to type something and then I just put it in and say, finesse this email.
Well,
you know?
you're making a really interesting point. I'll tell you something, and I've thought about this a lot. Let's say AI becomes super intelligent and AI becomes this really important thing, and it will.
Mm-hmm.
There's an opposing force that I feel that we haven't calculated, which is the modern Homo sapien is 100,000 years old. At the end of the day, there's not a lot of difference in us biochemically than we were thousands of years ago. So what does that mean? That in this interaction, there's a lot of, communication. There's different hormones. We need dopamine and oxytocin. We're human. At the end of the day, you could advance AI as much as you want, but buttressing up against that is our humanness. And I just wonder, how that plays off into what we really need as a big bag of water and hormones, right? And we need certain things, and we're not changing as fast as AI is. So I think it's going to be super interesting how in the future we're really going to be valuing EQ probably more than IQ and how we are as humans. And I think we could easily forget that our humanness will probably be a bigger and a more important factor than we think in what happens in the future. So that's why I feel like AI is not going to just take over and ruin us. I feel that it's going to be an incredible tool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we still need people. And I believe in office means something. And I believe that humans need humans and people need people. And we need love and connection and affection. And those things haven't changed and haven't changed for thousands of years and won't change for thousands of years.
Yeah, yeah. Holding on to that.
Sure.
Speaking of love and connection, let's talk about your family dynamic in business world, because I feel like it's so interesting. Many people would say never to get into business with family because there are so many layers of complexities. It could go astray, causing a rift, and then, blows up the entire family. But you guys have stuck it out.
It is so interesting. Here's what I would advise. First off, when I see really and well-known families in this country have these epic legal fights, I feel so sad for them.
Yeah.
When we started a family office, we had this really experienced chief investment officer work with us. And he looked at my brother and I, and he said, do you know why family offices break up? I'm like, well, I'm thinking over money, over percentages.
Usually I say over money too, yeah.
No, he turned to us and he said, who gets the cottage that weekend?
No way.
Yeah, and it's because there's so much ingrained in just those kind of weird family dynamics and small things that you've clashed about since you were young kids and deep-rooted things. And if you can't get past those, it's who gets the cottage ends the office.
Interesting.
And
so pettiness.
But it's not, we see it as petty, but it's actually, there's a lot more ingrained that goes all the way back.
Deeper rooted.
Yeah. So what I would tell you is this, and think about this really carefully. Let's say, I tell everybody, if you could work with your family successfully, you are really going to do well. Here's why. Because building a business is extraordinarily hard. And there's a lot of times where you're just like, this is so hard. But let's say you have a fight right now with your best friend of 20 years, and you call each other some really bad names. Well, the next week, you get back together and you say, I'm sorry about that. And they say, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got overheated, whatever. And now you're back together. Are you back together? You are, but there's something. You know what they're capable of now. There's something. Now think about your brother or your sister. You have a brother or sister?
I have an older brother.
Okay. Get into a terrible fight with them that morning. Like, I hate you, blah, 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 whatever. It's loud, like after lunch, you're like, hey, or like it's lunchtime, you're like, hey, let's have lunch. Like, okay. Like, do you really have some problem with your brother? I don't think you do, because there's something that we don't understand about that sibling bond, that blood is thicker than water, that connection that makes you go past it very successfully. So what Richard and I, my older brother and I, were able to do was get past our problems very quickly.
Yeah.
And we always go on the premise that it's not worth it. It's not worth the cottage. It's not worth this. It's not worth that. I've never argued about money with Richard. I won't do it. I won't even enter the arena on it. I won't
Are those did you kind of lay that out as rules kind of thing with each other before you went into, or was it kind of as it went on, these are things that had developed with your relationship?
between the ages of 22 and 27 or 29, we probably resigned on each other 36 times in writing. So, but you get to a point where you realize that 0 of 0 is 0, meaning that if you can't build something together, that's all 0, you're all going down.
Yeah.
Right. And it is very, very easy to burn something down. But then again, I mean, very blessed to have a partner with Richard who is very technically savvy, and I was good at business. And then 1 + 1 made 3, and that worked. So my thing to your viewers is, if you could work with a sibling, think about the horrible fights you're going to have with any co-founder. With a sibling, you're actually going to get past it better if you can. It creates this extraordinarily strong model. I mean, back in the day, in the 1800s, 1700s, we used to be very proud of so-and-so and sons.
Right.
Because what they were saying is,
There's
these
legacy.
are my sons.
Yeah.
It's legacy.
Yeah.
This is my thing. And we used to be proud of these things, and we kind of gotten away from it. But again, let's go back. We're human, and we're 100,000 years old, and we need the human contact. But if you can make it work in family, you can have a terrific business. I really believe it. And I never get more disturbed than I see these famous Canadian families that are in court and battling each other. I'm like, oh, it's so terrible. Like
it happens more often than not, I would say,
feel bad
honestly.
for them, and I don't feel bad about their money. I'm just like, because plus and minus, it all just kind of happened anyways. And by the way, at the end of the day, let's be honest, we're all just renting anyways. Like, how long are we here for? And we're just renting. Someone's going to eventually live in our homes. Something's going to take our car. We're all renting. So
yeah,
what did you really
like that
get?
perspective. My dad would always say, like, growing up, you can't take your money with you when you die. So
yeah, you can't bring a U-Haul. I mean, these pharaohs and these kings thousands of years ago wanted to die with all their soldiers and bring it into the afterlife. It's like, no, that's not a thing.
Oh, that's funny.
Right.
You also have a younger brother. You're a middle child, right?
I'm a middle child.
Do you feel like you have middle child syndrome a little bit?
Middle child. What's that?
Do you feel like you have middle child syndrome a little bit?
What is that syndrome?
I'm always wanting attention and kind of being the loudest one in the room.
Oh,
Not
probably.
saying that you are.
Yeah, I'm guilty. Guilty. Oh yeah. There's no doubt that's happening. My younger brother's amazing. He's a documentary film producer, and he does amazing movies. And he's working on another one about the alcohol industry and the weight industry. He's
cool.
Very good. He actually made a movie that was on Netflix called Screened Out, where it talks about kids being addicted to their screens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's really good because you actually realize how much attention these things take from us and how they're actually built to take our attention.
It's scary.
So he's great, and we love getting involved in his movies. And so 3 of us are very different.
I was just going to say, so what's that dynamic like? Because you and your older brother probably work a lot more closely together.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, what's that dynamic like?
It's great. I mean, he comes in the office as well and does his thing, and we support that, and it's great. The thing about the Hyatt boys is that we're all very opinionated, and I realize that I shouldn't give my opinion very often if I want to keep the peace. So
there you go. That's the middle child. But you've outsmarted the.
Yeah, I know how to keep the peace by not saying a lot.
Oh, that's funny. So, Michael, one of the things that I read is you were like top 40, under 40. You have so many accolades and accomplishments that you've had. For you and your brother, what would you say is like, or how would you define your biggest accomplishment with work?
Being able to stick it out. You will overestimate what you can achieve in a short period of time. You will underestimate what you can achieve in a long period of time. The truth is that I'm a 20-year overnight success, and you will be shocked at how the winners in most races are the tortoises and not the hares. And, when condos are really a big thing, everybody lines up behind it. Gold's a big thing, Bitcoin's a big thing, everybody lines up behind it. Don't go to any lineups. Just stick to your plan, stick for the longevity. You'd be surprised. I think that I heard this statement once, I think it was really, really good, which is you got to be in your business and be around your business long enough to get lucky, right? And you just have to stick it out through market crashes and recessions and good things and bad things and COVID and, the great 2008 recession. I mean, I was a CEO in the dot-com implosion, the great recession of 2008. I went through COVID, and by the time COVID came out, I went, yeah, this is bad, but, I've been to war. Yeah, I've seen this. I remember in '09 sitting there in my bed going,
Yeah.
is money going to come out of the bank machines?
Really,
Is
eh?
money going to come out? And people forget, if that rescue package didn't come in, there was no money coming out of the bank machines. Like, they were gone. It was really bad. Canada was a better situation,
Yeah.
but the US is the biggest economy. So there was a lot going on there that was like actually physically scary. So I think that after you've been through a number of cycles, you get a resiliency to carry on. So the best thing Richard and I have done is just be resilient and had a longevity.
When you guys have maybe, or when something has happened like this, who calls who first, and who is like the voice of reason? Who is the one who maybe panics or assumes the worst? Like, how do you navigate that or handle that?
It was the famous CEO of I think it was Andy Grove of Intel, who said, only the paranoid survive. And he's right.
Because you're always on guard, ready for anything to happen.
You generally have to be paranoid.
Yeah.
You generally, to run a business, you generally have to be paranoid. So let me give you a very recent example.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I need help sleeping. But like recently, we had a massive market run up. And I think the S&P is up 33% this year.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that I'd be elated with our returns.
But no.
I'm actually scared. I'm like, okay, this is too good. I'm looking around the room thinking, more like Warren Buffett. Like, now I need to be fearful when other people are greedy, right? So, and then when it gets really bad, people think, why aren't you panicking? I'm like, I know it's going to turn around. And to be honest, I'm thinking what I should buy right now. Everything's on sale, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right now in Toronto, as an example, people just watching this, you could probably make the case for buying a really well-priced condo if you wanted one.
Right.
Right? I mean, people are like, the condo market is over. And I'm like, that is a great time to think about,
Right. Right.
Right? Because
there's an opportunity, because we know it's, if things go up, things go down. What goes up must come down, and vice
creative
versa.
destruction. Eventually things are at a price where you can buy them.
Yeah.
And when people are all not lining up for something, you should think about lining up for something,
So is that what you do with your brother? You're like, hey, this is a good time to move. And this is like, is that?
In general, our investments, after you've made money, your job is to stay wealthy. It's not to gamble anymore. We took all the high risk to make money and have this family office, and now we do a lot of very boring things. Like we have more S&P 500 than anybody would imagine. Just people like, hey, what you investing in? I'm like, not much.
Yeah.
But we do back a lot of founders and businesses that is more exciting. We do operational stuff. So we do get involved in a lot of companies, but you'd be surprised how a lot more of our investing is boring and long-term.
Yeah. Interesting. I read something that was really interesting that you said, that you're an entrepreneur, not a manager, on that note. How do you differentiate that and kind of the roles of what each of those are with working with a team?
I think that entrepreneurs at the end of the day have one trait which is really critical. They have a propensity to act. And a lot of people feel frozen and have to think about making a decision and take a long time. Honestly, the price of inaction is actually extraordinarily costly for entrepreneurs. So sometimes it's better just to move. And if you're going to make a decision, you got to make it on data and science and actual facts that you have.
No feelings.
Less on feelings and more on facts. It's very easy to have I use my gut. Sometimes that works, but it's really your gut based on math and numbers and what's really going on.
And what does that mean? Like, the money that could be made from this, is it evaluated, or is it the money that you have to invest in it, or when it runs out?
It's a bit about everything. But I would say that if you're an entrepreneur and you've raised money and you're burning cash and all the rest of it, like the idea that you have, like, if hope is your strategy, you're already in trouble, meaning that, eventually I'm going to get some sales that's going to meet this number, said nobody ever, said everybody ever, and the problem is that that's how you get into trouble. The truth is that you should have founder-led sales. You should have unit economics at work. You should be able to get to profitability reasonably quickly. If you're
How quickly?
Well, it depends on
what it is. Yeah.
But you have to think about this. If you are unprofitable, you are, quote, default dead. You're dead. There's a time you're dead. You're walking dead.
Yeah.
I see dead people at the movie, right? If you're profitable, if you're $1 profitable, you have the ability to go, you exhale and pace yourself in your time. right? Having no profit makes you make decisions that are not always rational and not the right decisions. And you're squeezed into making bad decisions, you know, and then bank debt can compound that very quickly, make it worse.
For sure.
So if you can't figure out a way to have a founder-led sale, if I meet a lot of founders who are like, "Oh, I'm not really a salesperson." I'm like, well, then don't be a founder. Because you have to be, no matter what you're involved in, you must be the chief salesperson. If you can't sell the thing, your dream you're building, if you can't be,
Then no one else is going to believe in it.
no one's going to believe it.
Yeah.
You have to be the best salesperson. And think about all the brands that you love and all the people, like you look at, you know, these amazing women who've built these companies, these brands, they're all really good salespeople, right? I mean, you know, even if you look at like Skims, I think it was Kim Kardashian, like she's really good at this. All the people that build great brands are very good salespeople first. They don't say, oh, I can't sell. Like, so anything you're doing is really, you must be the ultimate and front person cheerleader, and you should make those unit economics work. And hope is not a strategy. Like margins matter, unit economics matter. Having ability to make money on a widget matters.
Once you sell what you believe in or what your company is, why is it that you like to differentiate from like managing then a team for like the growth strategy and all of that, and what that looks like?
Look, I think what I meant by the comment is that I would hire people that are better than me at that. I don't want to be a people manager. I want to make I'm more strategic and try to make big moves very quickly on the football field.
You're like the brain of the operation.
Well, part of it. What I've done well at is being able to find A players and letting them do their job and then backing them.
That's nice to empower your team to do things. Because I think that's, I mean, I have friends that work with companies, and the biggest, frustration that I think a lot of people feel is like, you hired me to do this, and yet you don't trust me to do it, is like the most frustrating thing.
You can't get scale if you don't have great people letting them do stuff. You can't hire an A player and say, I'm going to confine you.
Yeah.
They have to have something. They have to have scope and they have to have authority. And if they don't have scope and authority and they can't make decisions, then you don't have a business. So you have to let people do things. You have to let people make mistakes, let people own things.
I was just going to say, but like as an entrepreneur, who this is your baby, so you care the most about it, how do you kind of let that go a little bit? Because it's hard to let go. So as a control freak, I can imagine how it would be very hard.
I'll tell you how you do it. You use President Reagan had a great statement. He says, I trust but verify. So Reagan has and I've always lived by this premise. I trust but I verify all the time.
Love that.
Like, I trust you.
You still empower people, but you're checking.
I check it.
Yeah.
I have meetings. I'm like, show me that math. Show me that. I'm like, no. I'll walk into a meeting. They're like, we're predicting we're going to do all these sales. I'll ask 3 questions. I'm like, those sales aren't going to happen.
Really?
I'll just say it straight out. Like, that's not going to happen. You're not qualifying that properly. We're not going to happen. So we're not going to predict our revenue based on what you just said. Like, so sometimes I have to turn things off. But if you can't have honest and active and hard debates and everybody leaves the room being friends, that you don't have a company. And you have to tell them very much up front, like, this is how this is going to work. We're going to debate really hard, and I'm going to admit when I'm wrong, and you're going to admit when you're wrong, but we're going to walk out of here as friends. Yeah. And you don't have to quit to say I'm pissed off.
Interesting.
Right? And so let's have a vigorous debate and then decide their action. But let's make it about the product. Let's make it about where we're going. Let's not make it personal.
I was just going to say, I feel like a lot of arguments is like ego at the end of the day, being hurt, right?
But you show them that you're okay with saying, you know what, you're right. I agree with that. Okay, I changed my mind. Okay, let's go with that. And they'll be like, that's really weird. Okay. Because I'm trying to get to the right answer. And I've found out over time that my answers are not always the right answer. And I'm good at getting to the right answer, which may not be my answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And they appreciate that. And then they learn that, okay, I can go to a meeting and I can, like, if you can go to a meeting, a management meeting, and they basically just get up and give you good news and everybody claps, you're in huge trouble. Like, you want people to bring up red flags all the time. And let's deal with the red flags. I know that when I first get into a company, if I'm there and there's all this kind of rose-colored glass stuff, I'm like, they're not into the honesty phase yet. And this company needs an honesty phase. So I will applaud the red flag person, not anybody else.
Do you think that I like you said, the groundwork of like, we're here for the same reason, and anything I say is not meant to make you take it personally.
Right.
How did you become that way, to not take things personally? Because I think it's natural for most people to start that way and then kind of grow the thick skin of understanding to separate the two.
Because I wanted to win and I wanted to figure out what was the fastest way to the winning point. And the fastest way is to cut through all the BS and get everybody to just focus on solving the problem. And egos and icons, all that stuff gets in the way of doing the right thing for the customer, doing the right thing for the company. Like, what is the right thing here? And that is also something I lead with. I also lead with that. So when I'm with the executives, when I'm with the CEOs that I work with, I always say, like, let's do the right thing here. Like, there's been situations where this employee, like, needs to go on mat leave, but can't afford to be on mat leave. I'm like, what's the right thing to do here? And then we decided we would give them a bonus to make sure that they could stay home with their baby longer.
Nice.
But the thing is, yes, it was nice, but this was a great employee and we wanted to make sure she was comfortable, but we also wanted to make sure we did the right thing for that person. So what is the right thing to do? So those constant moral conversations need to come up. And because every company has a union, whether you think you have one or not, and people will act and abide by a certain treatment level. And if everybody knows that, look, these guys are, like, when you're not there, what do you want your staff to say about you? You want them to say, they're good people. They're not spineless. They are trying to bring this company somewhere. Because at the end of the day, no matter what people say, companies aren't families. What they want to know is that they work for a company that's going somewhere and they believe in those people. Look, we don't really go to each other's barbecues. We don't really babysit each other's kids. We're not hanging out at Christmas together. You know what I mean? So although I will do whatever for my staff and they are my friends, in the end of the day, they're expecting me to help them take this company somewhere for them, for their mortgage, for their family, for their future. And they need to feel confident that we will do the right things. And that is the critical piece for a company. Companies work best when they know management is doing the right things. And it's like every company's organic. They know instinctively if this company is going the right way, right?
It's interesting because I think there's a separation of, the really big kind of corporations don't have enough of that based on my experience anyway, in the way that I've been treated as an employee, where more of like a startup culture is like a bit different because, like you said, you're aiming to grow this to make, like, you all are there for kind of the same reason.
Right.
How do you decide to be a part of something that values that, but at the same time, you need to like make a living? Like, people often sacrifice one for the other because at the end of the day, you need to get paid.
You do need to get paid. And I think everybody should be responsible deciding how they get paid and what they're going to do. Look, I'm going to tell you what I tell. My daughters are very young, but I'll tell you what I'm going to push at them. And I'm telling my nephews that are older. Look, here's the truth. The world is actually a very tough place. It's there's a lot of amazing people. It's warm, it's loving. There's a lot of really good people. I believe that people are generally good. And certainly in this country, I've been around the world and I believe that most Canadians that I just run into randomly are really good people. And that's how I've experienced life in Canada and America. But that's not always the case. And there's people that will take from you and those people do the wrong thing. And nobody is going to shake you, get you out of bed and get you to go somewhere and do something. You are entirely responsible for your future. You can do a lot with it, but I think that there has to be a bit of cold water on people that are kind of waiting for it to happen. And that if you don't make it happen, somebody said to me many years ago, there's two types of people in the world: people who watch things happen and people who make things happen. And look, at the end of the day, I never had the best grades. I was never the best at a lot of things, but I think what I did better than other people is that I outworked everybody and I kept showing up. It's my longevity and my tenaciousness that got me somewhere. And I want my kids to know that it's if you want something, you're going to have to work for it, and you're going to have to show up and keep showing up. I mean, just look at people like what does everybody do? They sign up to the gym on New Year's, and then by January
they drop off by February.
Probably January 9th.
Yeah.
So it just shows that they mean well, and I feel for these people. But at the end of the day, we can't keep consistently most people can't consistently show up to anything.
Yeah.
So even if you just keep showing up, as Woody Allen says, like, you actually
You're doing a lot more than you
You
think.
beat 80% of the class.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. How have you, is there a scenario where you've had to kind of handle like in managing people or a team and kind of taking from a hard place that you eventually like got out of? Is there a story of like, a difficult time or?
Oh my God. Yeah. Like all the companies I invest in.
Yeah.
Oh, all the
Everyone.
companies, every single
Okay.
one. I journey. I mean, the amount of like change that have gone through some of these companies that I've invested in and these entrepreneurs. And what I say to them, I say, look, I'm going to be your co-pilot. I've seen probably all this stuff you're going to see, and I'll just kind of tell you what I think we should do. And we'll probably get to the highway faster than the back roads. But oh my God, from lawsuits to having to pivot the whole business to, being weeks away from going under to if we don't get this round of financing, we're finished. Like I see everything. Yeah. All the time. Change and friction is the soup du jour, right? Oh, for sure. There is no, the truth is building a company is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. If you start a company, if you're not ready to be in it for, I'd say 10 to 15 years, don't start it. Don't even think about it. And I'm talking about going through a tunnel where you think there's going to be light at the tunnel. Start walking. There's no light. And I'm not going to tell you when the light's coming, but it's going to come, but you don't know when.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
That's tough.
Yes. And that's why most people shouldn't do it. But we glorify the entrepreneur and tell everybody, oh, you should start a business and stuff. But okay, maybe, but you should know that maybe you should take a paycheck on the 15th and 30th because you got to strap on. And the other thing you haven't strapped on for is that you will probably blow a lot of relationships, as in a marriage or a girlfriend or a live-in partner.
Why is that? People say, and we were joking about this, like there's so many men in my experience have used the excuse of, I can't be in a relationship right now. Like I'm just focusing on work, where women I think are a little bit more, I can do both at the same time. I've made that generalization based on people that I have spoken to. But again, why is it that so many of these relationships fail in an entrepreneur's journey of relationships?
Okay, so in my experience, I was very intense and I went through these times where it was so hard at my company. The pressure was so obscene. And I felt the person I was with at the time didn't understand my pain. That is the
Fair. So that would be then added pressure that you didn't need.
Not an added pressure. It's worse than that. What it is an added bitterness, because what happens, which contempt, I think, ends all relationships, right? Because what happens is that you're suffering and you're trying to like keep everything afloat, and this person doesn't understand the absolute pain you're going under. And I'm trying to climb my Everest and they don't fully get that. And that was my thing. That was very personal to me.
Yeah.
It was extraordinarily difficult to me. But I definitely made a lot of mistakes on the way. It wasn't all their fault. It was a lot of mine too. And the mistake I made in relationships, I got married late and I had kids late. And
What's late? Can you do you mind sharing?
Yeah, I got married and had kids at 45.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So that is late. It's young in New York City. I'm like, young dad, with it dad. But if I'm in Florida, I'm like geriatric. Yeah. Like literally wheel them in, because they're all having 6 kids at 23. But but the mistake I made is that I think what a lot of guys do. And this is the most common thing I hear from young guys is that they're like, look, I need to get my career to here. And when I get here, yes, I'm going to meet a girl, then I'm going to have a kid, then I'm going to buy a house and and the only mistake they're making is that's not how the world works. And the reason is, let's say you sell your company or you got that perfect job and now you're like, okay, where is she? The universe doesn't go up.
No.
Here,
Yeah.
It's not like Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, right? It's like she doesn't necessarily come along just then. She could. I guess you can use dating apps more effectively today, but that's a hard thing to do. And I think that what I did is I was doing a bit of the waiting for Godot in the sense that I was actually waiting for the perfect time. So what I did is I made the mistake of mixing business with my getting married and having kids. So I was always like, I'm going to get here and then I'm going to meet the perfect person and then I'm going to have kids. So I wanted to be certain place in my career before I had the kids, and that's
Which a lot of people feel.
It's a mistake. And the mistake is you can't mix the two things. And if I would give Michael Hyatt advice at 28, I would say, you don't have to wait for nothing, and you can actually get married and have kids and have just a fine career as well. Although it's very hard because kids are, it's amazing, but it's amazingly hard. And I had a lot of kids fast. They all I had 3 kids and I had 3 kids in 2 years.
Oh my
so,
God.
Like, you know how you haven't seen somebody in 2 years?
Yeah.
Like I'm walking around with 3 kids in a stroller and they're like,
are these yours?
No, like, what are these? Do you steal them? Like, are you babysitting for who? I'm like, no, these are mine. And the fact they're blonde, I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening here. And I had one. And of course, what you do, the conversation 100% of couples have is, oh, we need to have one more so they have a friend in life. And then, of course, God's like, ha, 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 boom, here's some twins.
Oh, my gosh.
And nothing is crazier than, there's a famous thing, like for every couple, is like the ultrasound. And the guy says the same joke every time. And the same joke is, there better not be 2 in there. And this is like, this nurse is like, speak to the doctor. I'm like, that's not funny. And the doctor's like, you're having twins. I'm like, I know this guy. I'm like, shut up. Like, there's no twins in the family. He's like, it's not necessarily genetic, by the way. And when I heard I was having twins, I was pissed because I was like, I went into man mode, and man mode goes like this. Women go, oh my God, having twins is amazing. And guys go, what kind of car do I buy? I have to buy a bigger house.
Everything.
I go into infrastructure mode.
We're
I go
on
into
numbers
build.
now.
I have to like, how do I get a car? How do I get a table at a restaurant for 5?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So men go into this crazy build the cave.
Yeah.
You know, women go into I'm going to have the baby, so you better build me this cave, you know? And like, it's very, very funny, but literally the first person my wife and I called when having twins was our builder, and we said, the 3rd floor, we got to change that. We were actually building a house at the time. We had to change.
God. Well, that's good timing then.
Well, like I just had enough time to recreate the 3rd floor to add another bedroom. But, you know, it's wonderful, but it's wonderfully hard. And I look, the benefit now to having kids late and being out of my companies is that I can this morning I got up, before I came here, I got up and it's Blue Jays Day at their school, and I sat with them. I did photographs. I played with them this morning.
Aww.
I can take them to school. I turn up to their pizza days.
Aww.
And I hand out pizzas, and they go, that's my dad. He's silly, you know, and they're in kindergarten. They think it's great. And the privilege I have to go to pizza day is what I earned.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Yesterday, my wife said, hey, can you, so-and-so or one of the nannies is going to pick up the kids. I said, no, I'm going to. I drove up, I picked up the kids up, took them to the park. And I'm just like, what a blessing that I have. That I can just, because I wanted to today, I decided to drive up and take them to the park and pick the kids up today just because I wanted to see them earlier. And I wanted, like, that is the blessing of freedom of building your companies early. But having kids late, like, there's a biology to this. Like, they want me to chase them in the park. It's getting harder. You know, they're fast, you know.
For sure.
And so, you know, the other thing I think I gave them by having kids probably 15, 20 years late is that now the medical technology is exponentially better. So I gave them a huge advantage in life, being born later. At the same time, their dad's older, but I get to be there, so I'm very present. And let me just tell you, viewers, there is one rule to be a great parent, and I fight for that every day. I try, which is being present. Like, put your phone down, like being in it, like doing their homework with them, doing their coloring, doing activities. Like, my wife is amazing at activity day, boom, like we have our kids not at the TV, doing some activity at the table, and then you got to sit there and build Lego with them and do stuff. Like, being present is like the number 1, 2, and 3 thing to being a good parent. And I have to keep bringing myself back into being present as much as I can.
Well, it sounds so simple, but with all the distractions and things that we have going on, it's really hard.
Pick up your phone, pick up the TV. There's a news flash. There's something going on. And being present and listen, they don't care about your job. They don't care about any of that. They just want to know,
are you going to be there?
Are you going to be there to do my Lego? I'm doing this picture. It's a mermaid. How my daughters identify: mermaid, unicorn. That's how they identify. And kind of and wish me luck. I'll throw in one more thing, and I should do another podcast after this. But I'm going on a Disney cruise in November, and I am terrified.
That should be fun.
I don't know what's going to happen, but we're bringing like suitcases of dresses for the kids.
As they do.
They're going to wear full ball gowns. You know the ones from the 1700s with a hard bottom? Like we'd seeing a 4-year-old wear that. Anyways.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a girl dad. That's really sweet.
I am an extreme girl dad.
So do you like embrace all the things of, Dad, I want to do your makeup. I want to paint your nails. And we're having a tea party.
Yeah. All of that happens. and a lot of, a lot of the worst phase so far has been the Frozen phase, where people will walk by you and mouth sorry because they hear the Let It Go song and they play it until like whoever invented Frozen is like, I think Anna, that character, is a billionaire because like that thing's 20 years old and it's still going hard.
It's so good though.
Yeah.
You can't even deny it as an adult. You're like, I get why they love it so much.
The worst is when your kids dress up as those characters and freeze you and you got to freeze and they don't unfreeze you. And like, how long am I going to stand here for? So it's...
I love the commitment. That's important.
Yeah, you got to be all in. And listen, I think that's an important part to a marriage and an important part to having kids. Like the one thing I did is I decided I was going to go all in. Like... And that's a question for everybody. Are you all in?
Did you feel like because you had kids later in life that you were ready to go all in? Like, do you think if this had happened younger, you wouldn't have been?
Yeah, I realized, and I said to my wife as we got married when we had our first kid, and listen, we had a very unconventional life. Like we were together, we were fine, and we had a baby and we got married a couple of weeks later. And
I love that.
And our wedding was $150. We went down to the courthouse.
Really?
And I had a baby on my shoulder. We got married at the courthouse. And then we went to a sushi place next door. And I think that was more expensive than the wedding. And then we went to the passport office and got Sophia a passport.
No way.
And that was my wedding. And you know, it just goes to show that, and I have this great relationship and this great setup, and for $150, you know, I'm just saying that you don't need, you know, much. And it's funny now I say to her, I said, hey, you want to get married? We're going to be in Hawaii. You want to get married? She's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? I thought you wanted a wedding. I'm like, no, maybe sometime. But like, I don't know. I can't get her to marry me now, like at a wedding. Like you wanted to marry me, but now it's like, oh, marry me. It's like, so like, I'm more the romantic now. I'm like, like, let's have a wedding. You know, we're in Hawaii. And she's like, I don't feel like it. Like, you know,
that's so funny.
But it's really funny now because like, we're just very busy parents and it's great. But the way in which it works really well is that I think instinctively that for a relationship to work, you just have to decide you're all in until you're not. But and I say that in a very nice way because it's stop thinking of like love and forever and all these kind of fantasies.
Yeah.
Think about a constitution of saying, but if I'm in today, I'm all in. And it's funny because that all in begets more all in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you're always kind of thinking, well, so for, you know, if your people are watching this thinking, you know, I want this relationship and with the kids, and I want it to be perfect. Like, it is so hard to have kids and it's so taxing on a relationship. First off, you're sleep deprived.
Right.
I mean, you're still getting up 3 times a night because they want a purple crayon or they want a kiss or something, it's, you know, whatever. And you're all in on your children. And if they're all the same age, like it's really hard. And, you know, you have to balance that. And it is if you're not all in, like it's not going to happen, right? It's I think there's a statistic, something like the first 5 years of a relationship with children is the time where most couples break up. And I completely understand that because it's super intense. Your kids can't do anything without you. And, you know, if I'm sitting here with my wife and I start saying, the kids can be quiet. As soon as I start speaking to my wife, one of the kids will go, Mom, 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 Mom. Yeah. Like you can't actually have
seconds alone.
You have little seconds alone. You have a little amount of time to speak to each other. Sometimes we get like an hour and a half in the evening, you know, and then we binge some Netflix and or whatever, right? But you know, it's worth it. It's hard, but you have to be all in. And I think both of you know that and have to decide that. And that sounds like a really obvious thing, but it's not that obvious.
Do you think that it requires like a sit down to be like, okay, we're going to go through the shit of the shit, but at the end of the day,
yes,
I love you no matter what, and I am in this.
Yeah, but okay. What I'm going to tell my daughters about their relationships, I'm going to give them a piece of advice. And this is an important piece of advice. Judge people based if the volume was turned off. So if I said to my daughter, I'm watching you with your partner and I have the volume turned off and I'm only looking at their actions, is it okay? judge people by their actions, not necessarily the words. It's very easy to say all in. It's very hard to do it.
Yeah.
So if you look at your relationship and you turn the volume off, is it correct? Is your partner doing the right things? Right? Are you
What
doing
are the right things then? Like, what are some of the right things that you think demonstrate that for people who maybe don't know how to put those words to actions, if that makes sense?
How do I make my partner's life better today? What are the small, like, I'll give you a small thing this morning.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I'm like, I get up and running. I realize my wife's running to get to a meeting. I'm like, she hasn't eaten and she needs more protein. I made her eggs, which, by the way, I learned to make from Gordon Ramsay's little video on making scrambled eggs, who I just bumped into at the airport. I said, your eggs.
No way.
I said, I love your eggs. You taught me how to do the on and off the heat. He's like, perfect. You know, he's a really nice guy.
I love that.
But
he's great.
But then the small thing is that I thought, has she eaten? Does she have enough protein? She's going to go to this meeting hungry. And I whipped them up, gave it to her. And she's, oh, thank you so much. Oh, you read my mind. And I wasn't trying to win brownie points. I was thinking, has she eaten? Right? Just, okay. And later in the day, like, what do you need? What? And I do that without any request from something from her.
That's what I was going to say. But honestly, Michael, not for anything. Not a lot of guys think like you.
But but the thing is that when you elevate to partner and mom of your children, you start to realize that this is the most important investment you ever made. So, for example, my wife is a very successful lawyer. She's not a lawyer right now.
I didn't know that.
She's not a lawyer right now, right? She was the Department of Justice. She's brilliant. The thing is that she's made the biggest sacrifice to stay home with our kids, and that was the biggest monetary investment we could make. Like, I believe her sacrifice of her career right now to be with our kids early is immensely purposeful. And I really admire her for it. She can go back and do something now. The kids are going to school. It's better. But for the first 5 years, you got to be in it to win it, right? And you have to admire those things. And you also have to be all in and do the small things because it's hard. And if you do the small things, just do the small things for your partner. It's not about buying some kind of expensive item or taking, like, sure, those things are nice, but it's life is about mundane small things. Who did the laundry? Who made the eggs? Who made it's about a million small things. And if they start seeing that you're doing the small things, they'll do the small things. And I think that's the way it is. And yeah, I think something you said earlier is correct. I think you should have a conversation that goes like this. This has got to be really hard. Like, let's face it, having a child, having one or two kids is really hard. And just the biology of it, the sleep deprivation, the hunger,
for sure.
You're sacrificing for your child. I mean, we had twins in COVID. My wife was breastfeeding twins, and we had COVID.
Oh my
God.
God.
It was crazy. And my wife donated 200 bags of milk, which is crazy because she's not very big. It was an amazing woman. But the thing is that you have to go through hard times, and you have to be, okay, we're in it. We're in it. Like, we're going to do this. And that's, and to me, that's success. I mean, they say the most important financial decision you can make in your life is who you marry. And I believe that.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you meet your wife?
Online.
Shut up.
So this is true. And ladies, this happened. I'm her first date ever online.
No way.
So she signed up for a free weekend, and I was, of course, suffering dating all these women.
How were you meeting women prior to deciding to go online? Just like at a bar?
Yeah. No. I was online. I was doing my thing.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you had experience online dating.
Yeah, I lived at the Four Seasons at the time, and I would date, and it'd be easy for me because I'd meet them downstairs. And I was like, oh, let's meet at the Four Seasons for a drink. It was just easy. I just walk downstairs, come down the elevator. I'm here. I'm always on time. Glamorous. And she signed up for a free weekend. And she was actually in Ottawa, and I was here. And she says, actually, I'm coming for a trial in Toronto. And she came by, and we never looked back. And I remember our second date. I said, I wanted to buy this. She spoke French, and I'm like, my brother and I wanted to buy this place in Paris and do it up and have an apartment in Paris. I'm like, hey, you speak French? You want to go to Paris? Like kind of a fantasy date.
No
so the second
way.
date, I took her to Paris, and she's like, oh, let's go to the Eiffel Tower, and I'm, doing all this. We did all these things I never thought I'd do because I was looking at a place, but
that's so romantic.
It just happened
Sweet.
It happened very quickly. But I was her first date ever online.
Wow.
And it worked out. But I didn't really expect that. But there's also a thing in a relationship where you have a relationship and then you have one pre-kids and post-kids.
I was just going to say, pre-kids,
Yeah.
what was your relationship like with your work-life relationship balance? Like, how did that look before kids?
Okay. Pre-kids, you sleep in on Saturday. And then we would go to our place in Florida and we'd sleep in and the whole day would go and we'd watch something on Netflix and we'd sit by the pool and we'd be like, woo, this is great. And we're like, we could just sleep for 5 days, then go somewhere and this and that. And then you have a kid and then it's just like, what? That needs to be fed every 3 hours? What is happening here? And what is it doing now?
Hello, responsibilities.
And then we had 3 and then they were all burning down the house. And it's an amazing transformation, but it's funny if I say this, but I don't remember our relationship pre-kids in the sense that it's just not that important.
Yeah.
And you start to realize in life that you're playing for the home team, meaning that you just want the best for your family, for your girls, for your wife. You just want the best for them. And, my wife speaks French and Spanish. So funny thing in my house is that my kids only really speak Spanish to each other and they go to the Toronto French. So I don't understand.
Cool.
I don't understand anything in my house. I understand nothing. I'm on day 800 of Duolingo and I promise you it's not working for me. ¿Cómo estás? It's really bad for me. It's not working out. I try so hard and I'm not getting anywhere. And my kids do my Duolingo and they're 4. They can beat me at it.
That is so funny.
But it's wonderful. And she brought these languages in for the kids. They speak 3 languages fluently, perfectly. And
That's
it's
so
amazing.
impressive.
It's her, not me. And and it's worked out well. But I'll just be candid with everybody. Relationships are hard. Marriage is hard in the sense that you have to be all in it to win it. And that's what makes ours good, is because we confront that and we're all in it to win it with these kids in it.
Yeah.
And I have a very good relationship because we both work at it. And
Okay, so what does that look like for you working at a relationship?
you literally have to you have to date your wife. You literally have to, I ask her out on a date and I will email her. And I'll say, hey, are you free on Saturday night? And she'll say, well, I am. I go, well, I'm going to take you for dinner. And do I tell her where the dinner is?
No.
Nope.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
I say, she says, what do I wear? I said, okay, you can dress a little fancy. She goes, I ask what she's wearing and then I color coordinate to that just because whatever.
That's very sweet.
And then I take her somewhere it's a new place and we go and I surprise her and I know what she likes. I used to just eat and run and now I have to sit down and say, would you like dessert? And I make sure she gets her dessert. And she always orders dessert and she never eats it, but she always wants to order one.
She wants one bite and then you have the rest of it. That's how it works.
And on that, funny enough, every time I go to a business dinner, I never have the dessert. So what I ended up doing is that so that she knows I think about her, I always bring home the dessert.
Aw, that's nice.
But anyway, so I date my wife and that's an important thing because you have to find time for yourself. Once a year, we go away for 1 week together. We just came back from Paris, but we go away for 7 days together, just us.
Yeah.
We just need something, and it goes by fast. But you end up by day 7, you really miss your kids, right? So, but I date my wife. We go away together. We make time for each other, and we try to. I should say we try to make time for each other because by the time you get the kids home from school,
It's hard.
get them showered, feed them, get them to bed. Getting them to bed is a whole landing the plane. It could take an hour or 2. And they say that, what is it? It's like, no one has a longer to-do list than a 4-year-old going to bed. They're like, but one more thing. But I want to talk about sea lions and mermaids. And so you'll find you're exhausted in the day. You actually get to your bed at 8:30 and you're just zombied. And you're watching, I think, The Gilded Age right now, which is fantastic. And that's it. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I want to be clear about the point that I don't have any magical relationship. What I have is something that we both work at.
Yeah.
And that's why it works. So there's no magical elixir. There's no meeting the perfect person. The truth is, and maybe people won't like what I have to say about this, but every relationship is simply an experiment. And it's an experiment, and then you have to just go all in. And if you try the experiment and go all in until you both can't, but go all in, and you'll find that you're probably more successful than you think. You'll probably surprise yourself. And this is a really weird thing to say, but because I took this thesis, I know this sounds like maybe people won't believe I'm saying this, but my relationship has gotten better post-kids because of the all-inness.
Yeah.
And
It does bring you, I mean, it can either bring you really far apart or I feel like very close together.
Again, if you decide that.
Right.
It's not a magical thing that just happens. It's like, oh, now we're closer. No, it takes, I mean, look, my wife and I fight like everybody else. Like it's normal. Relationships are work. Relationships are hard, but you can make it work, but you have to decide to make it work and you have to go all in. And I think that it's very unreasonable to start. Today, I think things can be very disposable. You can always swipe and find something else and all this. And that must be a very empty way to go about, because if you haven't had children or you haven't had this relationship in a marriage, the uplift you get is just bar none, right? Like you can't explain what it's like to have children to people and have a family. And, you know, and I have a Volvo now, and we drive around, we go places, you know, and we go out for dinner with the 3 kids and they're all under the table. I'm fantasizing the day they don't go under the table and try to burn the place down. It's hard, right? But we're getting there.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying it. And I'm enjoying every moment of their young age. And they're so cute. Like my 6-year-old said to me, she goes, Daddy, do you know everything? I said, well, yes, I do. I'm at that golden age where they believe that you
are the be all and end all.
I think you run the world. Yeah. Do you know everything?
That's my favorite age, when they're still so innocent and sweet, and they don't question anything that you say.
They don't question anything. And my daughter actually said to my wife recently, she said, Mommy, why does Daddy have all the money and you don't have money? And my wife's like, what? And no, you should hear the answer. The answer was this.
Oh, what is the answer?
The answer was, she says, why do you think that? And my daughter's like, well, when we go out and I want to buy something, you say we have no money, but Daddy always has money for me. Because I'm like, Cookie, what do you want, kids?
Your wife's the one that reels it in.
I'm just like, and my kids rat on me. Like, I'm like, okay, kids, we're all home. We got to get showered. I'm going to give you all goldfish and Smarties if you get showered. And they're like beaming upstairs, getting showered, ready to go. And then my wife comes in the home like, Mommy, we've had goldfish and Smarties. I'm like, don't, ixnay. But, they rat on me really quick. But it's wonderful. It's a lot of fun. I can't explain it if you don't do it. But listen, I don't make any illusion about it. It's hard work. Mm-hmm. And it's dedicated hard work. And I think that if your partner's all in and you feel better and you feel secure. And a big part of my job is to keep everybody feeling secure and warm and fed and everything, right? As that's what a guy does, and I think traditionally, and it works. But there's no secret to it except hard work.
What do you think is one piece of advice that applies in business as it does in a relationship?
Yeah, don't take the business or your relationship for granted. Don't just assume. You really have to think about a business. You have to think about your relationship. You have to put the work in. There's nothing automated about it. Mm-hmm. If you ask me what the most successful things I've done in my life, it was successfully getting married and having children, and also building the foundation, doing the things we do. It's so easy to leave something, to not be part of something, It's easy to walk. Well, depends, but moreover. I think there's an idea right now that if you're feeling comfortable, you can just change and do something. But the truth is that all relationships ebbs and flows and go through different times and different biologies, right? Mm-hmm. And you go on, and really the way, if you read the cards between Vanessa and myself, there's always a line in every couple of cards that say, thank you for going on this journey with me. Mm-hmm. One of us will write that. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth, is that like a business, and I'm comparing because you mentioned that. Yes, it's because of me. Is that you're just on a journey with somebody. Yeah. And that journey is really, really important. And you got to understand that journey goes great times, hard times, people get sick, people don't, there's a lot of things going on here. Yeah. But my biggest advice for anybody is try to do the small things consistently and think about your partner without wanting something in return. And you'll be surprised how that begets something different in your relationship. Awesome. Thanks so much, Michael, for being here. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.